Hello, my name is Stephanie Elko Thomas, a fourth-generation Rusyn American. This video is brought to you by the Carpatho-Rusyn Society. Enjoy!
Hi, I'm John Rigetti, and we're talking about Rusyns and Slovaks, similarities and differences. This is a discussion that wouldn't even have to be had 100 or 150 years ago in Europe. But what's happened historically in the last 100 years or so has muddied the waters, especially in the United States, and have made this topic of what makes Rusyns and Slovaks neighbors and how are they alike and how are they different. Why are they really two distinct ethnic groups? So I'd like to begin by having a discussion about who these two groups are, and we'll start genetically actually with where Rusyns and Slovaks come from. Now, in most areas of eastern Slovakia, Rusyns exist, but they are little known in western Slovakia because they're not indigenous to that area. Anyone who spends time with the Slovak community knows that there are also dramatic differences between Western Slovaks and Eastern Slovaks, and we're going to spend some of the time talking about the relationship between Rusyns and Slovaks and culturally, particularly in the East, what they share. Now, both Rusyns and Slovaks hail, especially in immigration here in the United States, from the Carpathian mountain chain of Eastern Europe. While Western Slovaks, of course, come from lowland areas as well, Eastern Slovaks tend to be mountain dwellers just like the Rusyns are in Eastern Slovakia. And in fact, you can see here on this map, the gray territory gives you the ethnic designation of what territorial designations are Rusyn. So you can see anything here, particularly at the turn of the century that's in gray, was ethnically Rusyn communities. And then you can see, particularly in Slovakia, where the Slovaks integrate into that region. And we're also going to see a little bit more about that as we talk about this issue. But you can see pretty much on this very southern slopes of the Carpathians in the Prešov region, the Rusyns call this territory Preševská Rus in eastern Slovakia. But Rusyns also transcend Slovak ethnographic areas to make up the Lemko region of southern Poland. They are the bulk of the population in Subcarpathian Rus in today's Ukraine. They also make up a population, small populations, but nonetheless populations in Romania, Hungary, and large immigrant populations in Serbia and Croatia, as well as the Czech Republic. But additionally, both Slovaks and Rusyns came in very large numbers to the United States as well. Who are the Slovaks and the Rusyns, and where do they come from? Where are their roots in Europe? This is really an important discussion because unfortunately in an American educational system, one of the ways we've learned about nationality is as nation. And until very recently, until the turn of the century, Slovaks and Rusyns had the same issue, and that was that they didn't have a country. For 1,000 years, there was no Rusyn country and there was no Slovak country. It's only been since the start of the fall of communism, actually, and the creation of Slovakia, that you actually have a Slovak state that equates with the Slovak ethnicity as well. But ethnicity and statehood are two things that have never really been gone together, been congruous in much of the world, and especially Europe, and extra especially in Eastern Europe. I'd like to start going back to the Central European areas that we would look at today as the Czech, Slovak, Rusyn territories, but let's look at them in the 7th and 8th centuries. And here what we see are all kinds of peoples that don't exist today. Or let me put it in another way, how many of you have ever heard of Lendizi or Ulicians or Polyanians or Kuyavians? The message here is that ethnicities don't stay the same over time, that being an ethnic group is a dynamic process. So some groups started out and merged together. So these Derevlyanians, these Polyanians that you see here are today Ukrainians. On the other hand, some split apart or merge with other groups to become some other type of organization. You see here, for instance, in the Frankish kingdom, the Alemanni and the Bavarians and the Thuringians, who would have clearly viewed themselves at this point as three different groups, today would all readily admit that they are all Germans. So we look here on the map, and where do we see the Slovaks? And we see them pretty much in the Danubian basin where they are today. but more so to the west, what is today Western Slovakia. Where are the Rusyns in this map? Because we don't see them, but they are here. They're called the White Croats, directly to the east of the Slovaks. And as you can see, they're in the cradle of the Carpathian Mountains. White Croat, meaning Croat, dweller in the mountains, comes from the word Horvat, Hore, mountains. Why are they White Croats? It's because the Croats that you and I know as Croatians are referred to as Čorni Horvati, or black Croats, because they inherited a directional system from the Chinese that was still used in Central Europe at this time. White being north, black being south, yellow being west, or excuse me, yellow being east, and red being west. So this is where White Croats, the Rusyns, are separated from their cousins, the Croatians in the south. Now, these White Croats living there then eventually merged with another tribe that came in the 1300s from the east called Rus, R-U-S. And these Rus are the same ancestors of all the East Slavs. So Ukrainians are a mixture of Rus with Turkic tribes and local tribes in the Ukrainian territories. Rus mixed with Finno-Ugric tribes, Finnish tribes, became the Russians, and Rus mixed with White Croats eventually become Carpatho-Rusyns. Now there's one other piece added to Rusin culture about this, and that's that also in the 1300s, from what is today Romania, a Romanian tribe speaking a Romanian Romance language, not a Slavic language, shepherds came. They were called the Vlachs, and these Vlachs came into the Carpathian Mountain area, and they too mixed with the local Rusyn population. And the merger of these three cultures, Vlach, White Croat, and Rus, gives us the people who then by the late 1300s, early 1400s, are referring to themselves as Rusyns. So what you see is this shepherding culture which overflows onto Slovaks in eastern Slovakia, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as well.
Hi everyone, thanks for watching our video brought to you by the Carpatho-Rusyn Society. My name is Stephanie Elko Thomas, a fourth-generation Rusyn American born and raised in northeastern Pennsylvania. The Carpatho-Rusyn Society is a non-profit that exists to perpetuate the living heritage of the Rusyn people. CRS does this by sharing linguistic, historic, genealogical, and cultural knowledge. To learn more, be sure to hit the subscribe button below and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Also, don't forget to visit our website at c-rs.org. Thank you.